Welcome to the Living Spiritfully podcast, the Mind Body Misfits edition. Here are your hosts for today, Paul Galloro and Claudia Micco.
I can't believe it's December, like tomorrow
I know.
or the next day. When is it? December is soon, but here we are. Oh, oops, sorry, I just kicked my pup by accident. He always stays under my feet.
Because
He does. Oh, he's licking them right now. Oh my God, Claudia Micco. Can you believe this is the last time we're meeting for well, I was about to say 2012. What year is this? 2023. Yeah. How are you, girl?
So it was 1993. I am doing well. I am wearing my healing Lahaina AloHā bracelet.
Yeah. What does it say on the inside?
On the inside, it says slow inhale and long, deep exhale. And it's a reminder. One of my girlfriends started a fundraiser, and it's basically for the people of Maui to, again, get funds for artists and healers who've lost their jobs, and for people who've lost their homes, that sort of thing. So,
do you have information on how people can support that? Is there a link or something?
there's a website, yes, and I can give it to you and we can put it on the notes.
Perfect. Also, check out the song by the Doobie Brothers. If you go to the Rhino Records Instagram, I saw that they've been posting that a lot. The Doobie Brothers wrote a piece of music in support of everybody that's affected.
Because Mick Fleetwood had a restaurant here, and of course all the big stars were always there. And it turns out that Patch was part owner of that restaurant.
David Patchell Evans, which Mo talked about a couple weeks ago. Well, everybody knows Patch in the fitness industry, but who knew? I didn't know that.
I only found out when I was at the conference. It was a weird interaction, and he said, "Oh, you're from Lahaina," and I was like, "Yeah," and he said, "Oh, I own part of that restaurant with Mick Fleetwood," and I thought, "Wow,
that's crazy."
it's a small world. It's a small island, and so Mick Fleetwood's on drums. There's all kinds of different artists, famous artists in it, but it's the Doobie Brothers song because they were big fans of Maui. Come here all the time.
Well, listeners, please go and do what you can to support either the link that Claudia posts, that we post in the show's notes for the bracelet that Claudia is wearing, or buy the piece of music. Lahaina Strong. Thank you for sharing all of that, but I want to make sure that we share our exciting news.
Yes.
Did we tell everybody?
Tell them immediately.
We're going to Italy. Yes.
Italians.
Two Italians, two misfit Italians
Two misfits
making their way to Italy. Yes, we are leading a self-care and cultural immersion in Tuscany, Italy, September 14 to 21, 2024. So next year, so which is a month away, by the way. So check out the show's notes because all of that information is out there. But hey, guess what, listeners? There's only 10 spots left, and they're going fast. Early bird ends on December 15th. So if you're joining us, please head over to the show's notes right now. Check out all that information. And we'll be, listen, we're going to be talking about it every time we get together leading up to the big experience. But if you are interested, if you need a getaway, if you want a week of adventure and self-care and delicious food and beauty and pleasure and all the things that that Italy has to offer, please check out our experience and book.
Very excited. Very excited.
This is like the fourth country you and I are going to.
Amazing.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at us traveling the globe hand in hand.
Broke travelers. Yes. We do
not. Yeah, exactly. Thank God for our connections in the hospitality industry.
It's so funny. People always say, how, a lot of times people don't believe me when I tell them I've literally been to almost every continent. And yet I am not wealthy. I come from a very, poor family, and I don't, I live very modestly, but the fitness industry has been so wonderful to me, so good to me that I've been able to traverse continents and have an amazing life. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to traverse with you again.
I cannot wait. And now let's talk about our episode for today, because this is the last time that we're meeting for 2023, except okay, spoiler alert, the very last week of this year and this month, there is a special episode of the Living Spiritfully podcast where all of the co-hosts and the correspondents are getting together for a little drop-in Christmas special edition. So this isn't our last, but this is the last episode of Mind Body Misfits for 2023. And it's our Mind Body Misfits holiday survival guide, because if there's one thing that we know is that being a misfit, it's not always easy to get through the holidays, especially when you're the glitter disco ball sheep of the family.
Or when
Which is,
you stay away from your family during the holidays, and then they try to guilt trip you every year for the last 30 years to come home. So
we may or may not be speaking from experience, but okay, so should we talk about it? What are some of the
yeah, let's talk
things?
about our survival. How do we survive this?
Okay, well, you know what has happened with me? So it started not this past weekend, the weekend before. I had a complete complete just me weekend. It's me and my puppy, Dominic, and I. We luxuriated. We did some things around the house. I had some work that I needed to get done, but I made no plans. I was in no contact with anybody. I was barely on social media. It was just an opportunity for me to rest and recharge, because every weekend from now until the end of the year is booked.
Yeah.
Whether it's a work function or a family function or a friend function or whatever, it's all booked. And I like my me time. I like my alone time. It's when I recharge. So I took this that weekend to really to charge and reserve some extra energy for what I needed, because I just know it's going to be intense the next little while.
Yeah, you have to charge your battery up for
Mm,
this.
yeah.
Misfits to have alone time usually as a way to recharge. Even though we love being around people,
Hmm.
sometimes it can be draining for
Yes.
our psyche and our brain and our nervous. It really is ultimately our nervous system gets tapped out,
Yeah.
and we need that time to reconnect with ourselves and do things that make us feel good, so that when we go and we do these other things that we feel obligated to do, we don't do them out of resentment.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because
That's
it's really
beautiful.
easy to do that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, there's something that I posted on the Instagram recently. I'm gonna pull it up, because I just thought it was an amazing quote, and I think this is so fitting. So, listeners, go scroll back to my on my page, because there's actually a fun story that goes with it if you scroll over. But this is a quote from Paulo Coelho. It says, "A person who never says no thinks he is generous, understanding, polite. As the word no has earned a bad reputation, selfish, not sufficiently spiritual. The warrior does not fall into this trap. Sometimes when he says yes to others, he may be saying no to himself. Therefore, he never speaks yes with his lips when his heart says no."
Oh,
Don't you
yeah,
love that?
I do. I do. And I think for me personally, as I get older, it's getting much easier for me to just say no.
Mm,
I need to be alone. I need to do nothing, or I need to read, or I need to write, and just isolate. And it's easier now, but when I was younger, It was much harder. So if you're younger and you still feel like you need to be saying yes to every single thing, I promise you those things are going to be there next year and the year after that and the year after that. And that's partly what's in, that whole quote. And I've read some of these other ones. It actually is kind of selfish when we say yes, 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 believe it or not, because we're doing it out of, again, a sort of resentment ultimately.
Yeah. Or we're saying yes because we're always known as the helper. And if I say no, then people aren't going to see me as the helper, or they're going to
not going to like you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
and God forbid somebody doesn't like me.
I was going to say, I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, if you don't like me, that's your loss. I like me, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's weird, especially with social media now. There's, always a lot of things that, you make a comment and then all of a sudden somebody actually hates you.
And you get canceled.
Yeah, you get canceled. So we want to get canceled.
Okay, but can we just, but I also want to say, like, I think it's important that you don't care about other people's opinions about you, but we also have to remember not to be an asshole about it. There's nothing more that grates my cheese, and it just reeks of inauthenticity when I see somebody like proclaiming, I don't care what anybody thinks, and they make a big deal about it. And you're like, I mean, you're making such a big deal about it that I'm starting to think you actually care what people think.
Don't make a big deal out of it.
Don't make a big deal about it.
Don't make a big deal out of it.
It's still our tagline.
Any big proclamations are usually, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Exactly. And they're coming from a
really
place
don't care, you don't say anything.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, I love that, all of that stuff that you said about just feeling so feeling more confident in saying no, because I feel like I'm slowly getting there as well. It's a lot easier for me now.
Yeah. And then, the problem with that sometimes is people that expect, because we set up the foundation for people to expect us to say yes. And then when we start saying no, they may get mad at us or feel some, anger towards us because we're saying no, but it's because we kind of lied to ourselves or lied to them and said yes to things we didn't want to say yes to. So it's really a whole repatterning of your nervous. It really is a repatterning of your nervous system to just start going there and saying, okay, no, I need this time for me.
Yeah, actually, that's a great kind of throwback to our conversation a year ago, becoming conscious of your conscious mind, because that's where you're going to start the reprogramming so that you can reprogram your nervous system and your responses in future situations.
Right. And as a misfit, we have a tendency not to want to disappoint people. Right. Or be misunderstood. So we spend a lot of time having conversations in our own head, rehearsing things, making sure that we present ourselves in a certain way so that we fit in with society, when we really want to, make a snarky comment or, be off in our own world. So, it takes a little bit of time to get back to who you are and being okay with those things, because it's a mask that we tend to wear. Yeah,
for sure. So that was one of my big things, is just making sure that I take the time before the busy season starts to recharge myself. The other thing that I'm a huge advocate for is microdosing.
Mushrooms?
Yeah, well, I'm actually talking about microdosing self-care, but
okay, clear that up right now. We're not tripping at our grandparents' house, microdosing on.
Could you imagine?
Hanukkah.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious.
Might actually make it a more enjoyable holiday.
It could be. Makes everything look fuzzy
Kind
and
of does make things look.
colorful and
Now we're really
lovely.
getting off topic. Microdosing self-care.
Yes, microdosing self-care because yes, I make that I do a mega dose of self-care before the whole thing happens. But like for example, I look at Arise as a microdose of self-care because every morning for 30 minutes I sit down, we all sit down, those that are participating in Arise, we sit down and we take care of ourselves. For those 30 minutes, for some of us, it's the only 30 minutes in our day that we don't think about anyone else but ourselves.
So what,
And
Paul, what do you consider a microdose of self-care? What would that look like?
like 5 minutes of deep breathing. Just a small little nugget of something that soothes my nervous system, right? So I'm not just talking about like bubble baths. I'm talking like deep breathing, nervous system regulation. Also, you know what? Going back, not going back on your word, but if you, for whatever reason, are not feeling up to going to the thing that you said yes to 6 weeks ago, you can say no or adjust it. I'm only coming for an hour. That to me is a microdose of self-care.
Right. Yes. I like to do this thing where I show up, eat a little bit, read the room, and then slip out when nobody's looking.
No, 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 no. You're
Yeah.
not doing an Irish goodbye.
I do an Irish goodbye even on the
Ah,
I know.
Claudia.
I don't know that. Maybe I have some Irish in me.
Or you've
Not
had some
Irish
Irish
in
in
me,
you.
I tend to go for the Germans. But anyway, that's besides the point. Or Irish goodbye.
So okay, can we just talk about that for a
That
second?
bad?
I'm not a fan of that.
Okay, sorry.
I prefer you saying, sorry, everyone, gotta go, love you lots, hug, 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 and then leave.
Oh, I
You know,
hate long goodbyes.
well, don't make it long. Just be like, I'm so sorry. I gotta run to the next thing. I
Gotta-
love you. That was so great. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Bye. What I usually do is I put a timer on my phone, 90 minutes, and then I don't make it beep. I make it vibrate. So I feel it I'm like, oh, and I take it out and I turn it off and it looks like I'm checking a message. I'm like, oh, just sending a message to my friend that I'm going to see you soon. And then I say, I'm so sorry, I got to go. This was lovely. And then I literally get in my car and I drive home and I put on my pajamas and I eat Haagen-Dazs straight from the car. Just kidding. I don't do that. But no, I just think it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's nice to kind of just leave like that. I'm ritualistic, so I like to open things and I like to close things. And I also like to make a big deal about me. So when I'm leaving before everybody else, the entire party has to look at me and be like, oh, Paul, don't go. And I'm like, oh, sorry, guys. I really got to go. So it's like, it satiates my ego in some ways too.
Well, my birthday's on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So there's the good thing about that. People always go, oh my God, your birthday's on Christmas Eve. That must be horrible. You only get one present or whatever. And I don't really get many presents because I'm not married. I don't have any, family around. So I don't really care about presents that much.
My presence is your present.
Right. And I really care about connection more than I care about gifts. My love language is quality time, by the way, for anybody that needs to know that.
Noted.
So when I was little, though, and I didn't know what was happening, I always thought that all of the lights and all of the trees and all of these things that were going on were about me.
Oh my God, I love that.
I didn't know it was about Jesus and Mary and all those guys and whatever people believe in. I had no idea. Santa and Rudolph. I thought all that shit was about me.
Oh my God, I love that. You know what? I think that is a beautiful way to grow up.
It was nice. And my parents always made it, very pleasant. And I always felt great. I always love, and I still do. I still love having my birthday on Christmas Eve.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What was your life like when you found out that that was not, in fact, specifically for you, but you were able to enjoy it with everybody else, but it was for, Jesus and Mary and all those guys?
Yeah, I was a little jealous of Jesus. I thought he was getting more attention, but I really didn't, So as a trainer who's traveled, like we've talked about, I would do things like I would schedule myself to go to the Oaks and teach for Christmas, because a lot of instructors would want to take off for the holidays with their families, or I'd go to the ranch and teach, or I'd go to some spa somewhere in the world, and I would take a mini vacation during that time as a present to myself, because of course, I couldn't afford to go to the spa, but I could afford to go and teach at the spa.
Right.
So over the years, I've always I've always worked. I love my job. So I've never really had a problem. I look at it as kind of a gift to myself.
I love that.
I never really had a problem with it. I've always, I was, like I said, a little bit jealous, but I got over it.
You got over it pretty quick and just still see the world as celebrating you.
Yes, I still see that. And there's always a party. I never worry about having a party because there's always a party.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
How would you microdose your self-care?
This year, my microdosing that's a good question, because it's a different year as a lot of, I've been crying a lot. So I've been trying to get it out. So my microdosing of self-care can be something really simple, like going down to the hot tub that we have and just, putting myself there. I also exercise. I'll go to the gym, even if it's for a half of an hour. So for me, those are ways that I self-care, microdose. Talk to somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time, so I try to reach out to people. And for me, that's how I get, because it's connection for me and quality time. So that's the way that I microdose it's not food. I don't need a cupcake or anything like that. Some people, that's like their self-care is like, I'm going to treat myself to some kind of food thing. Mine is more, connecting with other people.
Oh, I love that. That is a great way to recharge yourself.
Yeah. And it's really good so a lot of people get the blues around the holiday, everyone thinks it's all happy, 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 but if you've had, like, my dad died right before Christmas about 6 years ago. And over the years, there's this anniversary syndrome that sometimes people get during the holidays, where maybe it's the first year that, your husband died or your sister died, and it's, the first year. So it's not all happy, happy, happy. Sometimes it is melancholy, and people need to allow themselves a little bit. Again, this microdosing could be just giving themselves time this holiday, this first one, to make it smaller, to make it more cozy for their heart, rather than having to go to these big parties and feel like they have to, again, wear a mask during the holidays. So again, it can be really great, but then it also, for a lot of people, have a lot of sadness during the holidays. And I would want to acknowledge that, because we need to give ourselves some microdoses when we feel that way as well.
Totally. I know there's I've over the years, people would always, it's the holidays, I should be happy, and I shouldn't be feeling this way. I need to express it, that you in fact express it, regardless of, like I said, the calendar, because we can't hold on to those. I mean, we could, but also if you go back and listen to the episode that Catherine and I discussed about grieving and stuff, we have to allow ourselves that chance. And if that means allowing it in the middle of joyful holiday season's greetings time, then so be it.
Yeah. Or pick a holiday. So, all right, there's many holidays right now coming up. Maybe pick, okay, I'm going to do a Christmas Eve thing, or I'm going to do a Christmas thing, or I'm going to do a New Year's thing, and maybe choose not to do all of them 100%. Or I'm going to be a little quiet on this Christmas time or Hanukkah, and I'm going to blow it up on New Year's, or vice versa. So don't feel this obligation that, I have to really go to every single thing that's happening, because then this can snowball into other problems where, you feel like, oh, I got to control now my food intake, and I have to, now I'm going to gain 10 pounds and all that kind of stuff too. I'm going to miss out on workouts and things like that.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's the third thing that, I mean, people often beat themselves up over around the holidays. And we as Misfits are here to say, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Stop beating ourselves up over things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do we not beat ourselves up, or how do we flow gracefully through the season and maintain our fitness that we're comfortable with? Or, again, a lot of people do gain a lot of pounds over the holidays. How do we do that?
Well, for me, it's I go back to our principle of don't make a big deal about it. And I go to a party and I let myself eat all the things that I want to eat and drink all the things that I want to drink. But as I'm doing it, I am mindful of it. I'm like, okay, how do I feel? Do I really want another sweet thing? Right. The answer 90% of the times is yes. But then it's like, how do I feel about it? Is this really going to enhance the moment, or is it going to make me feel worse? Like those are the kinds of things that I kind of keep in the back of my mind when I'm at the parties and I'm enjoying. The other thing is I go back to this microdosing idea, and I also don't make a big deal about my workouts. Like, it has to be an hour. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. I just move when I can move. And so for example, if I'm walking Dominic, I know I'm going to go for, I have to go for 2 walks a day. He otherwise I'll never hear the end of it. So I'll sometimes turn one of those walks into like a hoof, kind of like I'm really, giving it. And that's my workout, because, I'm running to go to this party.
And he likes to walk fast, by the way. I've walked Dominic, and I got a little workout when I walked him. So that's great, Paul, that you're putting these microdoses. And if you have a pet, maybe take those extra walks with your pet just to get that movement in, because we do need to move. Yeah. And people tend to be a little more on the sloth side, as football games and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I have to say, though, again, going back to giving myself permission, that week in between Christmas and New Year's on the calendar that nobody ever really knows what day it is, if it's a Monday or a Tuesday or whatnot, I allow myself to give in. There will be 4 days where I'll literally be glued to the couch, have not moved, have not showered, and I'll be okay with it. Yeah. But then when there's a moment where I'm like, okay, I'm getting restless, I need to move my body, then that's when I'll shower and I'll shave and I'll hit the gym or go for a walk or something.
I think I better.
It's like there's a green fog coming out from underneath my armpits. But I don't know. That's what it goes for me. And I haven't made a big deal about my nutrition or my training in a really long time. I just know that I move my body and I fuel my body. And however I do that, I just make sure that I do it. And then everything else happens along with it. Is that, you know what I mean?
I do. And I have never had the problem of gaining a bunch of weight during the holidays, because I do these little rules, the 80-20 rule. And I'm going to allow myself to have a glass of wine, but I'm going to eliminate something else somewhere else. So there's a way to do it where you can feel satisfied at a party and have the lasagna, have the glass of wine, but then in other places in your day, it's all about a balance of energy. So it's okay to have the wine, it's okay to have that, but you're not going to have bacon and eggs for breakfast. Or if you're going to have that big breakfast, then you've got to watch it in the evening. So if that's the problem for some people, it really is, if you need to write it down, that's also a good way to keep track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And can I also just say something? Listen, if you're going to eat it guilt-free. Enough of this, I shouldn't have it. Okay, maybe just want. No, stop it. No, none of this bullshit. Oh, I shouldn't. I got to watch myself. Or it's, oh, that's bad. But stop saying that stuff. Stop judging your food. Stop judging yourself for eating the food.
I know. It's like we
Just eat
don't,
it.
yeah.
Just eat it,
I
you
am the
fucker.
same way. If you're going to eat it and then you're going to feel guilty, we've talked about this in
Yeah.
another episode at length. You are actually setting yourself up to receive every calorie twice as hard in your body when you do
Hmm.
it that way. When you eat it joyfully, you can have 10 cupcakes.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
a different, and I don't mean like pretending joyful. I mean, eat the cupcake and love it.
Hmm.
And without that feeling or whatever, I'm saying cupcake, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's
The
only
pasta,
once
the
a year.
lasagna, whatever you're going to eat
Yeah.
when you come with us to Italy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Because that's the thing. We're going to Italy. I'm not going to, exactly, but I'm not going to Italy and going to be like, no, I'm not going to eat that or I'm not going to
We
drink
have a
that.
chicken breast in Italy.
No,
They
no,
don't
cover that shit in cheese, then I'll eat
yeah.
it.
If you're gonna have a chicken breast in Italy, it's going to be breaded
Yeah.
and fried and baked with mozzarella and some sauce and
Yeah,
hopefully
exactly. Well, but I mean, that's what I eat at Christmas anyway when I
avocado
go
or
to the
whatever.
Italian
Yeah,
parties.
depending
But
on
no, I think it's very important that like and you know what another thing and I think we did talk about this in that episode. Forgive me for not having such a good memory, but blessing our food. Like
yes.
just even saying thank you or I will enjoy this or I do enjoy this, but saying
I'm
something
enjoying.
loving, I am enjoying this, something loving about the food that you're eating is putting love into the food that then you put inside of you, you're putting that love back in.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm all for, I'm not a religious person, as everybody knows, but I'm all for that sort of thinking. If people like to say grace before they eat, I think it's a beautiful thing.
mhm.
Um, to have that kind of energy prior to eating your food, especially if when you're with other people. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
beautiful thing. I think it really does keep your internal organs calm because when we eat, when we're stressed, our internal organs are suffering,
yeah. They're clenched
right? So
up.
we don't digest as well. So
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's my theory on it, and it works for me personally, and it works for my clients,
Hmm.
and that's kind of how we maintain our balance in weight during the
Yes.
holiday.
Yes. And the last thing that I would add to that is don't look at another person enjoying themselves and making comments about like, ooh, oh, you're so lucky you get to be that skinny, or you can eat whatever you want because look at your blah blah. I hear people say that shit to me all the time when they see me at the sweet table, like literally inhaling everything like I'm Homer Simpson. And then people are like, oh yeah, oh of course you can eat like that. It's like, yeah, I'm eating like this because I want to, and and I'm like, this is a very pleasurable experience for me right now. So,
I know.
don't
I
compare yourself to other people. It's gonna quadruple the calories that you consume.
I think we just want to really have the feeling of gratitude as often as we can remember to have it during the season and during, well, really all the time, but especially now. And like I said, in the last couple of months, um, I feel so lucky that, or
Mhm.
blessed, not lucky, but blessed that I've put, that my house didn't burn down, and and then the little side of guilt there, but having to like keep going back to gratitude
Yeah.
that certain friends of mine survived even though they may have lost everything, gratitude that I might have the resources to give them something,
Hmm.
right? To share my food with them, to share my holiday with them, to share my living space with them if that's what they need. So I think this is the season where we also have to remember that we're giving. And
Yeah.
for me personally, it just has never been so in my face.
Yeah.
This year I just want to give my bike to some kid who lost his, and
Hmm.
all my clothes and everything.
Hmm.
Yeah. So gratitude and giving.
Yes. Well, and that's the reason for the season, isn't it?
Yeah, supposed to be.
To give people gifts that you go out and spend lots of money on? Just
Well,
kidding.
giving support in those ways is important, but people don't just want that. They also want your heart support. It's all about the alignment of the chakras. You've got the money, you've got the sex, you've got the power, you've got the heart, you've got the communication, you've got the intuition, and you've got the enlightenment. So how do we line up during this time, whether people are having a good year or a bad year? How do we connect with people at their chakra, holes? How can we help fill those up?
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
You saw my eyes got wide when you said that.
The hole or chakra?
I'll let you decide. On that note, let's wrap it up here because we have I think we've shared a lot of stuff that is going to be supportive of other misfits this season. Lovers, go over to the show's notes, check out all the links that we put there, including if you are interested in joining myself and Claudia Micco in Italy for Bella Figura. That's the name of the retreat. Bella Figura is an Italian philosophy that is all about beauty and pleasure. We're going to talk about enjoying the best quality foods, allowing ourselves to experience the pleasures of life, the beauty of life. It's going to be, we're going to be very, we're going to tap into our inner Venus if we're going to look at the planets. Venus is all about beauty and pleasure. So, we're going to look at that. Check out the show's notes. Claudia Micco, you're going to come by for our little Christmas party on the last week of December, right?
I will be there. So
awesome.
Come visit us Misfits for our Christmas party, and you can watch us drink wine and eat cookies.
Yes, exactly.
And not gain a pound.
Exactly.
And microdose as well. So
yeah, we're going to be microdosing self-care. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we get there though, I just want to thank you so much for such a fun year with not only Mind Body Misfits, but our, just our silliness in between everything, and of course CanFit Pro.
And that you won fitness
professional of the year.
Yes. It was my pleasure to be there, and so grateful that I was able to make it.
Well, thank you for holding my hand in that moment.
Amazing.
I love you. Thank you. And I love you. And I am looking forward to our 2024 together, because not only is Bella Figura our thing that... Did I say that right? Bella Figura? Yeah. Not only is that one of the things that we're working on, we've got a host of other things that we're going to be working on that we're going to tell everybody as we get into the new year. So check out more coming from us, because we are the Mind Body Misfits.
And we said it right for once.
So
AloHā, everybody. Lahaina strong.
Do you want to take us home?
Us.
And
AloHā.
Why fit in?
Why fit in when you were born to stand out? Almost forgot that part. Of course.
Of course. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy December. Love you all. Claudia, we'll see you soon.
AloHā.
The Living Spiritfully podcast is a Spiritful production. Executive producer, Paul Galloro. Co-producers, Claudia Micco and Catherine Stilo. A big thank you and much love to you, the Living Spiritfully community, for liking, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this podcast.